welcome back to my channel, Keto with Sammy. For today's video, we are making some keto refried beans. I posted a picture last week. A lot of y'all requested this video. They taste so good and amazing. They honestly taste like real refried beans. The ingredient is a little odd. It's not an everyday ingredient that you would use for beans. We're going to be making them with some eggplant. And guys, I really don't like eggplant. That's probably one of the vegetables that I really don't like on keto. But I promise you, this eggplant bean recipe is so good and it tastes just like refried beans. I actually had some guests over last week and I fed them this bean recipe without telling them what it was, and they didn't even know. They tasted it and they said it's so good and it tastes just like beans. And when I told them what it was, they freaked out and they were like, that ugly big purple thing, that emoji thing. And I was like, yes. And they're like, it's so good. So I really hope y'all enjoy this awesome keto refried bean recipe. This is what they look like. So let's get straight into this video. All right, guys, so for today's ingredient, for our main ingredient that we're going to be using for our beans is eggplant. Now, this is a really big eggplant. This is the smallest I can find at my local grocery store. So we're only going to be using about half, but you're going to want one eggplant. And then you're going to want one red onion diced, 5 slices of bacon chopped, some shredded cheddar cheese, 1 tomato diced, and 1 serrano pepper diced. Then for our seasonings, you're going to want some chicken bouillon, some salt, some pepper, some garlic powder, and our main seasoning we're going to be using is some pinto bean seasoning to give it that bean flavor. I got this at my local H-E-B. If you're not in Texas and you don't have a H-E-B store, they do have a Fiesta brand website that you can order this off of from. I will link it in the description below. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is have your eggplant chopped into little pieces. So I just chopped mine right here into some chunks, and I'm just going to put it in my chopper and just chop it into little dices. Just like this, and then repeat until you're done. Okay, so you should have your eggplant nice and chopped, your tomato and everything else, and now we're going to be moving on to our stove. Okay, so now that we moved on to our stove, the first thing we're going to cook is our bacon. We're going to get it nice and crispy. Just going to dump it in, and you get it as crispy as you like it. Okay, once your bacon is nice and crispy, we're going to leave the bacon grease. If it's too much, you can drain a little bit. You just want it to coat the bottom. So once we have our bacon crispy, we're going to add in our diced tomato, and we are going to leave some for our beans towards the end to give it some texture. We're going to leave about this much. And then our red onion. Same goes for the red onion. You want to leave a little bit for the end for texture. And then dump in your serrano peppers. And we're going to get this nice and tender. Just cook it down. Alright, so after about 2 minutes of cooking, now we're going to add our eggplant, and then you're just going to cook this down as well. Before your eggplant cooks fully down, we're just going to add our seasoning. So we're going to take a tablespoon of our chicken bouillon. Sprinkle that right on top. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder. And you could add any other seasonings that you want to this. Some salt. Some pepper, and our last main seasoning is our pinto bean seasoning to give it that bean flavor. And now just let the eggplant finish cooking down. Okay, so once your eggplant is nice and tender, we're going to turn off the heat. And then we're going to whip out our blender and start blending up all our ingredients. All right, so now we're gonna blend it right up and make our refried beans. I usually do it in 2 sections, so I'm just gonna scoop it into my blender. If you have a bigger blender, you can just blend it all up, but I like to make sure everything gets nice and smooth. And just pop it on your blender and just blend it until smooth. Okay, so your eggplant should look like this. You can see that they do resemble beans, and I promise you they taste so good. And now we're gonna move back onto our stove. Okay, now we're back at our stove, and I'm just going to drop a little bit of avocado oil in the same pan that we just used. And now we're just going to fry our beans a little bit, and we're gonna add in that leftover tomato that we had for texture and the leftover red onion. And now we're gonna drop in our beans, and we're gonna let this heat through and fry in the oil for about 4 minutes. Okay, so once you have refried your beans for about 4 minutes, we're gonna turn off the heat. And our last ingredient, we're gonna add half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And then just let it melt in, and our keto beans are done. And I promise you, these are so delicious and they taste just like beans. Question of the day, what are you going to make these keto beans with? Comment down below. Alright guys, so that concludes today's video of our keto beans. I really hope y'all give this recipe a try, and if you do, head on over to my Facebook, post some pictures, let me know how y'all enjoyed it. If y'all really thought it tasted like beans, please give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see y'all in my next video.